It is Sunday morning, January 25th. It is raining outside, but everything is already coated in ice. It's cold, it's nasty outside, and we, like many of you, ran around the past few days trying to make sure we were prepared for this winter storm. And we went and got hay for the animals and a thing of straw, and we made sure we had gas and we had diesel and all the battery-powered flashlights and lanterns and all of that thing. They were all charged and ready to go. And one other thing that I always do is I make sure all my oil lamps are ready to go. And as I was thinking about preparedness, I was checking my oil lamps to make sure there's plenty in there. I started thinking about the parable of the 10 bridesmaids in Matthew 25. So let's read a little bit of that. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The 5 who were foolish didn't take enough olive oil for their lamps, but the other 5 were wise enough to take along extra oil. When the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight, they were roused by the shout, "Look, the bridegroom is coming! Come out and meet him!" And all the bridesmaids got up and prepared their lamps. Then the 5 foolish ones asked the others, "Please give us some of your oil because our lamps are going out." But the others replied, "We don't have enough for all of us. Go to a shop and buy some for yourselves." But while they were gone to buy oil, the bridegroom came. Then those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was locked. And later, when the other 5 bridesmaids returned, they stood outside calling, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But he called back, "Believe me, I don't know you. So you too must keep watch, for you do not know the day or hour of my return." It's a whole parable about being prepared. That's what it's about. And traditionally, for these weddings, it would be a long feast. And the bridesmaids, they didn't have oil lamps like mine. They were more like long tiki torches. Because what they did was led the wedding procession from the bride's house back to the bridegroom's house, right? That way they were moving in together. But of course, that happened at night, and it was dark, and they didn't have street lights back then. So they essentially had tiki torches that were leading the way and showing everyone the way to the groom's house. And we have 10 bridesmaids. 5 made sure they had enough oil because they didn't know when the bridegroom was coming. And the other 5 didn't. And when the bridegroom finally arrived, the ones who were prepared were able to lead the way. They were able to do what they were supposed to do and have a procession and lead the bridal party to the home of the groom. They led them on the way. And the others who had originally been invited but were not prepared did not get to go into the wedding feast. Now, this whole parable is part of a whole group of parables. Jesus is speaking in the section of Matthew about the end times. And actually, right after this is the parable of the 3 servants, where they had the servants that were given different levels of talents. And, sorry, we are trying to make sure everything's good around here too. But we have the parable of the talents. And the master left, and he gave his servants each a different amount of money and told them to put it to use. And some of them invested the money and returned it. And the one servant buried it and didn't do anything with what the master had given him. This is another example of God asking them to be prepared and to do their job. So the bridesmaids, their whole job was to wait for the bridegroom and then make sure that they could lead the procession. They would be lights in the darkness to show others the way. And some were prepared to do that, and some were not. And then we have the parable of the talents. And of course, we interpret that to mean that God gives us gifts and abilities and things that we can do. And if you are given an ability and a talent and a gift, and you do not help multiply the kingdom, and you do not serve your master, and you instead try to bury it and do nothing, you will not be rewarded. You will not be prepared when he returns. And then in another section of these parables, we have the parable of the sheep and the goats that he tells. And Jesus says, "But when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered in his presence, and he will separate the people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into your house. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me.' Then these righteous ones will reply, 'Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you?' And the king will say, 'I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me.' And then the other group on the left, he said, 'Away with you, you cursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his demons. For I was hungry, and you didn't feed me. I was thirsty, and you didn't give me a drink. I was a stranger, and you didn't invite me into your home. I was naked, and you didn't give me clothing. I was sick and in prison, and you didn't visit me.' And then they will reply, 'Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and not help you?' And he will answer, 'I tell you the truth. When you refuse to help the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you are refusing to help me, and they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous will go on to eternal life.'" So we have this group of 3 parables that Jesus tells. And in all 3, some are left out. They are not rewarded. The door is shut to them. And the thing was, Jesus wasn't speaking to unbelievers and believers. He was actually speaking all to people who were supposed to be believers. He was supposed to be speaking to the children of God. But some of them, even though they said they believed, they accepted what they were supposed to be. They were the bridesmaids. They were part of the flock. But they were not prepared. And they didn't actually have a heart to do what Jesus was asking them to do. And when judgment came, he said, "I don't know you." We don't want to be those people. That's not okay. So how do we stay prepared? How do we make sure we have extra oil? We're not saved by works. We're saved by grace. But we live it out. We have to live it out. And our actions do show the quality of our faith. And if your actions do not show you prepared for the coming of Christ, and you are not actively leading people from the darkness into the light, then Jesus' word for you is to beware. Be thinking, are you prepared? Do you have oil for your lamps? Are you leading people to Jesus?